All right. So, so now we're with the new manager. Sorry, we're talking about the breakfast sandwiches. So now, we have a new manager, Pete, new ASM, and on top of that, we had a new district manager. It was Allison, and she was outgoing. She was actually wonderful. She was very supportive, and the development of your career and job at Starbucks, because I really wanted to make that a career at that time. We got There was big news. We're getting breakfast sandwiches, and we were getting a new bar. Back then, when I first started, it was I can't enunciate how to say it. It was the old. It was la marker la something. I can't. It starts with an M. If I think hard enough, I could say it, but I can't think of it right now. But you would pull. It used to be like this spherical. It was like a funnel, and you put the coffee on top, and you would pull how much coffee you need into, and you push it and twist it and push a button. And back then you had to pull espresso shots for like 8 to 13 seconds or 8 to 12 seconds, something like that. And they were, like I said, it was a different time, and I actually missed that machine was great because you could do like 8 shots, like quick. You just pour, and go. So we were getting an upgrade. So now we're getting ovens because we had bagels, but we were never able to toast them. And then when we got the oven, I remember we had a presentation on it and they were showing us how it worked and everything. And I remember we got a shitload of breakfast sandwiches because they wanted us to sample them. Back then, it was the sausage, egg, and cheese, the bacon, egg, and cheese, and it was a sun-dried tomato and parmesan something. It smelled like pizza. And then they had the spinach and fontina cheese. It was like the vegetarian choice. And then they had the ham, egg, and Swiss on a bagel. And they wanted us to sample these sandwiches all over. And we did. We would sample them out to customers. And I just remember thinking at that time, I went to my manager, I said, you know what? I think this is a bad idea. And he said, why? We're going to profit, everything, we're going to grow. And that, that corporation mentality, that's what they do. They really brainwash you. Not saying Starbucks is a bad company, but it's a corporation. They want everything the same. By the way, when the porter position was gone after 3 years, so therefore we had to start doing everything in the store, cleaning. Starbucks is a very clean company. They want you to clean everything. We were responsible for everything, making the drinks, cleaning the bathroom, cleaning the lobby, cleaning downstairs, cleaning everything. And it was never clean enough. There was constant complaining. Every store I've been in, there was constant complaining about cleaning or whatnot. I told him, going back to the breakfast sandwiches, I told him, I said, this is a bad idea. We're not Dunkin' Donuts. He said, well, that's our competitor. And I said, okay, but we're Starbucks. Like, we're better than that. I said, this is going to ruin the integrity of our brand, of our coffee. No one's going to focus on that anymore. And I was right. Starbucks became fast food almost. It was fast, fast. Everything became faster. Fast, 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 fast. Now we could toast bagels. Now we gotta slice them. Now we gotta put cream cheese in them. Give them a fork. Give them jelly. Like it was a mess. Oh, and on top of that, we were able to sample the sandwiches, and I kid you not, the whole store gained weight. The whole store gained weight. We all gained weight from eating those damn breakfast sandwiches. Everybody gained weight. So at this point, I had been there for 3 years and I'm now a shift supervisor. So I tell my manager, I'm ready to become an ASM. So I went to my DM, Allison. I said, I want to be an ASM. I want to be an assistant store manager. And my roommate, side note, my roommate at that time, she was hired by Starbucks and she became an assistant store manager in 6 months. So I was like, the fuck? Huh? I've done all this training and like she didn't get any of that. She skipped all that and somehow became assistant store manager. So I told Allison, I want to be assistant store manager. She said, okay, all right. She said, well, let's put you in a business store and see how you can handle it. We're going to transfer you to 15th and ninth. That's okay. 15th and ninth is in Chelsea slash meatpacking district. And I said, all right, I'm ready for that. So she put me in another store nearby where I worked to kind of not prep me on becoming an assistant store manager, but to further my training as a shift supervisor. I had to learn how to coach efficiently. Like it was so much training involved. Now, 15th and ninth, I'll get into that video because that's a whole different, like I say, that's another chapter. But the funny, I'll kind of get back into Sheridan, in the village, Sheridan Square, I guess they call it. They let's talk about the customers that used to come in. There used to be this elderly woman that came in. She wore the same shirt every time, and she used to put her hair up in this tight bun, and it was stringy on the sides. She used to come up to the register. She would be like, like seriously. I'm like, this bitch is losing her breath. Bitch, get an inhaler. Bring it back. She would go, give me a venti coffee and fill it to the top. You give her a venti coffee, whatever. She and she'd give you the money and she'd go sit down at the table. And she had like she didn't have any top teeth. She only had her bottom rack. Oh Lord. I remember it got to a point where I just memorized everyone's drinks. Everybody. So she'd come up and I would already have her coffee ready. She would go, let me get a venti. And I would be like, here you go. She would go, oh, you got me ready. Oh. Calm down, girl. I remember one time she was sitting at a table and she was eating those Hillshire Farm like sausage rolls, just eating it plain, just not cooked or anything. She was just sitting there eating it. And I remember a homeless guy came over to her and asked, he was like, can I get a piece of your sausage? She was like, yeah, yeah. So she went to cut it. He said, no, 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 no. I'll cut it. I don't want you to touch it. The homeless people in New York are a trip. There was another time I remember this homeless guy stole. It was we used to have this egg salad sandwich. He stole the sandwich, right? And went and sat in the fucking cafe and started eating it. So I went up to him. I'm like, you plan on paying for that? He said, no, I'm hungry. How can I even dispute that? I let him chill and eat his sandwich because that was probably the best part of his day. Let's see. We're just gonna go into that store. What else? There was just the customers there were a trip. But it was the bathroom that was the issue. Oh, and then here we go. Y'all ready? Here we're gonna do it. Here we go. There was one time this woman, I was at the bar making drinks. This woman came over to me and she was like, excuse me, we've been waiting for the bathroom. Because there were two of them. The men's bathroom was occupied, so they were waiting on the women's. She said, excuse me, we've been waiting on the bathroom for like 15 minutes. And that's another thing. Starbucks people, when they complain, I've been waiting, it's always 15 or 20 minutes. Never 11, 8, 6, 3, 15, 20, or 15 or 20 minutes. Ridiculous. Anyway, so I'm like, okay, give me 1 second. So I finished my drinks and then I went around to the bathroom because I had the bathroom key and I'm knocking on the door. Hello? Anyone in there? You okay? Doing all right? No one's answering. So I took it upon myself to open the door. When I opened the door, there was a man passed out on the toilet, just passed out. He had a hypodermic needle in his arm because he was shooting up heroin, still in his arm, and he had a full erection. I was like, oh shit, I've seen everything now. And I ain't gonna lie, he was packing. I was like, damn, you shouldn't be a heroin addict. You should do porn with all that meat. I was like, okay. I closed the door. The men's bathroom was clear. It was ready to go into. Whoever was in there came out. I said, ma'am, go ahead and use the men's bathroom. This one is down. I went and called the police. They came. I guess they had to, and the ambulance came, and I guess they had to give him smelling salts. And he woke up and they took him away. I'm telling you, the bathrooms were a trip. There was, like I said, there were people in there having sex. There were male prostitutes, several of them in the village, and they were all in there having sex. You would slip on semen. There was blood on the walls from, I guess, people hitting the vein and it's shooting blood everywhere. It was disgusting. And I was like, I'm not cleaning that. Hell no. Y'all not paying me enough for that shit. Fuck all that. Also, another side note, when I was promoted shift supervisor, the minimum wage, I guess in New York had risen. So I went from I think 7 something an hour to I was supposed to be making like 8 an hour. Then I was making I think 11. So I was doing all right at that time. And oh god, what else can I think of? Oh, at that time you you couldn't, there were things that you couldn't have at Starbucks. Like you couldn't have visible tattoos, and you couldn't have like colored hair, like green, purple. That was forbidden. You couldn't wear perfume. You couldn't wear cologne because it would overpower the smell of the coffee. They said so. You couldn't wear all that. Now you can do all that. They let you do it. And apparently now, and I'll even talk about this later on, but now the bathrooms have a code where you have to put a code in to use it. The amount of fights and arguments I had with people about the bathroom was just a mess. I remember one time there was a barista, he was a shift, and he told we we had done, when there's an incident in your store, you're supposed to fill out an incident report and you're supposed to call it to a hotline to Starbucks and report that report and tell them what went on in your store. And I guess if you get a certain amount of incidents, they try to change it or do something about it. So what they told us to do was, okay, from now on, if people want to use your bathroom, they have to be customers only. That didn't work. Like, you would get regulars that would come in and they didn't buy anything and they just wanted to use the bathroom. You'd be like, oh, you gotta buy something. But I'm a regular. I come in here all the time. I've given you guys money and blah. It was constant arguing. I remember, like I said earlier, there was a shift supervisor who told someone they couldn't use the bathroom. And this dude got pissed off and he had a hot cup of chai and threw it at him and burned him. And that was it for him. He quit after that. I don't even blame him. The bathroom, like I said, we had three different managers in that store. First one was decent. She was okay, but she got fired for some reason. The second one was a snake. He just felt like he was going by the book. He even told, we had an assistant manager there who used to hang out with all of us. We used to go out or whatever. She used to hang out with us. And he told on her because you can't hang out with baristas. That's not a professional relationship. He was a tattletale. He was a total dick. And then the last manager, he was a little shady. And we worked together at another store, and I'll get into that much later. Um, but as far as my first store, it was in a village, and it was it started out great. Like I said, we had a bunch of baristas who were artistic. We had NYU students. Um, Everyone got along, and like I say, it was a huge. There was a lot of gay baristas there, and we all got along. We saw go out, and then we got a new manager, and then they all left, and then we got new baristas in, and those baristas actually were great, and we all bonded. But then again, we had so much we had to deal with: the bathroom situation, and the cafe, and the craziness that went on there. We had to deal with that, and the prostitution, and the drug usage, and I mean, that's how it was working in New York at that time. So I'm going to end this video here, and I will come back and tell you about when I was working at the store in Chelsea in the meatpacking district. So now, as I said, I've been promoted as shift supervisor. I want to. Oh, by the way, another side note. At this time, the stress got real thick. I don't smoke cigarettes anymore, but back then I started smoking, puffing, puff. I was just stressed the fuck. And I remember one of the guy who used to be a porter. He wasn't a porter anymore. They tried to train him to be a barista, but it just didn't work because he just wasn't socially. He was socially awkward. But I remember him saying to me, "You were much happier when you were a barista. Now that you're a shift, man, you're just really miserable and upset." And I didn't see it at the time, but he was right. So the reason why why I wanted to be promoted, because I wanted to, change things in my store. I wanted to make it a better working environment than what it had became. So I wanted to climb the ranks. I wanted to become a district, and I wanted to actually show how a district should be run, you know, with all the training that I had. And I just wasn't seeing it in the management that was coming to me. And at this time, they started hiring more external managers who didn't know shit about Starbucks. They were just coming in. And rather than promoting within the company, which is what they were doing at the time, it was huge. They would develop you into that, and then that started to kind of dwindle. So, like I said, I was shift supervisor, and then I wanted to become an ASM. So my DM said, "We're gonna put you in a bit," and she was honestly, she was great about development. Like, she was really cool about that. She wanted me to be promoted. She was trying to get me what they call panel. It was like maybe four regional managers that you had to sit in front of, and they had to grill you and interview you. Like, she was preparing me for that. But I had to prove myself and go to a business store, 15th and 9th. And Please don't go to that store and, you know, harass people or anything, but it's a very busy store. And in the next video, I'm going to tell you my experience of working at that store. And this is basically my journey and path on becoming an ASM.